Secretary Carroll, both you and the governor have talked a lot about the importance of removing state police costs from the motor licensing fund. That began in 2022 with efforts of the General Assembly, but this budget is now proposing to slow that phase down from $125 million a year to $50 million a year. Additionally, in the governor's budget address, he said in that context of increasing funding for mass transit, which we previously discussed, while we're at it, he said, let's deliver more funding for our roads and bridges, especially in our rural communities. So the message feels inconsistent. Would you agree? Because we're looking at, and you do your projections 5 years out, which we do appreciate you trying to be proactive and look ahead. That would be about $375 million over the next 5 years from the motor licensing fund. We have legacy projects with that design build that you were committed to by your predecessor. And now we have the flexing of those federal highway dollars. So I'm having a hard time understanding how this is all going to work.
Senator, I would offer that the decoupling of the funds started years prior. Your colleague, Senator Argyle, led an effort to advance decoupling. At its high water mark, PennDOT was advancing $800 million a year to help fund the state police. So the year prior to the Governor Shapiro's service, zero was decoupled. We inherited a $500 million obligation. The $125 million in the first 2 years and $50 this year would get us $300 million decoupled, which is perfectly aligned with the governor's original proposal of $100 million a year. Of course, I'd like to have it all decoupled, but the realities of the challenges in the general fund are real, and I think that the $50 million decoupled this year is a reflection of the totality of the challenge that includes the transit conversation.
So we're going to have overall, as a result of not just the flexing of those federal highway dollars, but also the deacceleration of the phase down of the state police from the motor licensing fund, in addition to the design build projects of the previous administration, we're going to have significantly less for roads and bridges.
We would have $50 million more, because we would, instead of having $250 million decoupled, we would have $300 million decoupled. So we would have $50 million more by my math. You're suggesting that, that if we continued at the 125, we'd have $75 million more. But we will, in fact, have $50 million more if $50 million is decoupled this year.
With all due respect, we were on target for having $125 million more before this budget presentation. So again, I recognize that my colleagues are very interested, and I see the merits of public transportation, but I also see great merits in making sure that we have enough money for our roads and bridges as well. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.